Hi, I'm Pavo Stubstad with Pure Hyzer Productions. With me today I've got James Proctor, Prodigy sponsored player, and we're going to give you coverage of the New Year's Disc Exchange tournament held in Penn Valley, California on January 10th, 2015. It's an unsanctioned doubles tournament, just 2 rounds, 1 day, and we're going to see the final round. But first, I'm going to let James tell me about the layout on the first round and what everybody shot.
The first round was a mixed layout at Penn Valley. Still some tough holes, but also some birdie holes. And my partner and I, Jere Eshelman, shot a 19 under par for 22 holes, I believe. Nikko Locastro and Shaun were at minus 15. And Gregg Barsby and Mike Jones were at minus 12 after the first round.
And we're going to have all 3 of those groups on the same card for the second round. So without further ado, let's get to the coverage. And thanks a lot to Vibram for being the first official sponsor of PHP. So here we go, the New Year's Disc Exchange Doubles Tournament. Final round, lead card. Going into the final round, we've got James and Jere in first place with 19 down, Nikko and Shaun in second place with 15, Gregg and Mike in third with 12 down.
Should be some fun.
First hole is a temp hole, hole B. It's about 400 feet. And that little area around the statue that you see there is played as OB.
It's a good first hole, good hole to warm up on. Nice open fairway.
Jere's up first.
Jere gets a hold of his disc a little too much and flips it to the right. Gonna want better than that in doubles.
And here's James.
Got that one a little low. I would have liked to get a better rip on that, but we got a putt.
About a 45, 50 footer there.
Shaun long up. Shaun puts a good rip out there, but it fades out a little earlier than he would like.
Yeah, it didn't quite hold. And Shaun was actually the TD of this tournament as well. And here's Nikko. Real smooth form.
Nikko laces a nice straight shot right out there.
Just got over the OB and skipped over to the pin.
With that big skip, it looks like it actually skipped off of the OB, and he should be parked. Here's Mike Jones. Throws a shot similar to Shaun's, fades out a little bit too early.
And last up, Gregg Barsby.
Barsby throwing his Millennium discs. He says that one flies a lot like the Destroyer. And he puts a nice shot out there.
About pin high, just right. And Jere's going off course with James's drive.
Oh, just off the cage.
Teeny bit low. Let's see if James can put it in.
Looks like about a 60-footer. And just wide. Gonna have to settle for par.
And Mike putting from Gregg's drive.
Up and just short. You never want to leave it low in doubles. Never up, never in is what they say. Barsby just short as well.
And that just leaves Shaun to tap in from Nikko's drive.
They will take the solo birdie on the card.
And there you go, 3 strokes now.
Putting pressure on him early.
Another temp hole, hole C. Nice little shorty, about 220 feet out there.
Should be a birdie hole for all the groups, considering it's doubles. Nikko will be up first. Let's see how he does. Nikko takes a wizard and throws an easy Hyzer. Should be putting. A little left than he would like, but not too bad.
See if Shaun can get it a little closer.
Shaun sawed his putter off and he hit the one tree in the fairway. Here I am. Let's see if I can get it close.
That looks good.
Left it right there. Let's see if Jere can put it in.
It's got the green light now.
Jere takes his shot a little too wide, but he should be parked as well. Next up, Gregg Barsby.
Goes for a wider Hyzer. Cuts back in nicely. Got a little skip. He might be circle's edge there.
Let's see if Mike Jones can put him under the basket. Mike Jones throwing a KC Pro Rock. Goes a little bit deep, but they should be inside the circle.
And I guess they went with Mike's drive. Here's Barsby putting.
Barsby cleans up on that hole. It's a good birdie. That's teamwork right there. One guy drives and the other guy makes the putt.
Here's Shaun putting from Nikko's drive.
Oh.
Looked good. He was bending over to pick up the disc. It just spit out the back.
Nothing you can do about that.
No.
And doesn't phase Nikko. He cans it right in there.
So nice birdie from them as well.
And I picked mine up because Jere was about an inch closer. And we got the tap-in birdie as well.
All birdies on that hole, as it should be.
Up next, we got hole D. D is a tricky little sidearm and Hyzer shot. There's one window you gotta hit.
Okay. Thank you.
First up is Shaun Long throwing the sidearm.
A little too much Hyzer on that, and it cut in a little early, but got a good roll out. They should have a clear putt from there.
Here goes Nikko trying to put it a little bit closer with the Hyzer approach. Nikko ends up following the similar line to Shaun.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
Now we got Jere. Let's see if he can put the sidearm close. Jere got it a little too flat and is about 60 feet long. Skip didn't help either.
Here's James.
Do you think we can jump up to the second hole? Would that be out of your guys' way?
Trying the Annie route as well.
And I hit the first tree. Looks like we'll be taking Jere's.
Is that over the one up the street? Okay.
Mike Jones.
Cool. We'll try it.
Going for the flick, too. A little too flat, but looks pretty good.
They'll be putting. Let's see if Barsby can make it a guaranteed birdie. Going for the flick as well. Barsby gets a little bit too much angle on his as it ends up in the bushes.
Clipped a branch a little bit, too. I'm not sure how much that affected the flight, but it might have slowed it down a little.
Here I go from about 60 feet. And just low.
Jere gets down on one knee, as Jere likes to do, the Penn Valley local.
And
Ooh,
follows
just
my
short
line. Shaun Long from about 40.
Another good-looking putt from Shaun, and this one just spit right back out off the pole.
Shaun is not getting his local love. Let's see if Nikko can help him out again. Nikko didn't like that one. Never gave it a chance.
Here's Barsby from Mike's drive.
Barsby gives it a good bid, but just a little bit too low. See if Mike can capitalize.
A little high. And that's surprising right there to see no birdies on this one. The group of doubles like this.
Usually in doubles under 330 feet, you'll see some birdies, but taking the lead card a little bit longer to warm up, I guess.
And, you know, Shaun might have had that one if it hadn't spit out like that, too.
That is true. That was just bad luck.
And so hole 1 is in the E position, which isn't even an official position for hole 1. It's up and beyond the D pin. This is actually a placement for hole 4, up the hill to the left there. You can't see it.
It's a really tricky shot. A lot of the locals like that roller shot to try to get it to go up the hill, but Nikko unfortunately clips the tree and stops right there. You'd like to get a little bit further up the hill than that to guarantee yourself a par. We'll see if Shaun can do that.
Just tries the straight, low shot up the gut. Hits the same tree Nikko hit, and they're right next to each other. Nikko's lie might be a little better.
We'll see if Jere can hit this roller line. Jere's got a lot of local knowledge on this course and was telling me that landing the roller earlier like that is very helpful on this hole.
Gives it more time to stand up and curl right later up the hill, which is what you want.
Jere told me to try the high route just because his shot looked pretty good, so
Didn't get it high enough.
I did, and unfortunately did not get it high enough.
Yep.
Mike Jones will be trying the roller right here.
Stopped right on the slope there, but it's a decent position.
Here goes Barsby for the high route.
That's it.
Released it a little more right than yours and missed that tree, and that has a chance of getting there.
Yeah, we thought it looked pretty good off the tee pad, but unfortunately he was stuck in the tree, so they had to take Mike's.
Yep. He was very high up in the tree.
Shaun for the par save, and he hits an early tree, and he doesn't like that.
Just clipped that little tiny branch right in front of him. I think he wasn't even aware of that one. It's up to Nikko now.
Nikko laces a beautiful shot out there, and they should be parked for their three.
Yep.
Here goes Barsby from Jones's lie.
Nice Hyzer flick, skip shot.
Another local player who has all the shots in these tight woods. Mike Jones throwing a similar line. They should have options.
Pretty much did the same thing there. They're both in the circle. Here's you from Jere's drive.
Didn't get quite the angle I wanted on that one, but that's why you got a partner. Hopefully Jere can put it closer. And he did just that.
That was a good up. I'm always surprised at how often Jere gets down on one knee.
He is very confident from one knee, and he gets amazing distance.
Attaboy, no more spit out.
There Shaun Long goes, getting one to stick in the chains
And
finally.
you can hear Nikko saying no more spit outs there to him.
Now we're just tapping in some pars. There's myself and now Mike Jones. And it will be all threes on the original hole 1.
I imagine twos are pretty rare on that placement, even in doubles.
It's hard to reach that basket all the way up tucked in to the trees.
Hole 2 in the G pin, it's only 285 feet, but it's the farthest placement for hole 2, and there are a lot of trees in the way on this one.
This is a tough shot even for some doubles pros teams. I kind of just have to throw it and hope it gets through the trees.
That's kind of the play on this hole, if it's in any of the deep positions. Shaun hit a tree there. You can see the hole back there in the trees.
There's one window you have to hit, and once you get through that, it's just a hope. Nikko's going to try a roller, get more aerodynamic through the trees, and he still hits a tree. Let's see if Jere can do any local knowledge on this hole.
Goes for the roller too. And I had to jump out of the way filming there, which is why I screwed up the zoom a little bit. But he got out there a ways. Curled right a little early on him, but should still have a putt. There's the basket.
Yeah, hopefully there's a window through all those trees. I unfortunately hit a tree, so we will be taking Jere's shot. Here goes Barsby. Barsby laces a nice drive through there and ends up getting through all the trees and then kicks to the
nice
left
kick towards the basket.
They should be putting.
Last up, Mike Jones. I think he's going to try the roller too.
He laces a nice roller out there.
Beautiful roller through the trees. Gets a little jump off of one of them and keeps going and They've got a putt from either of those.
They do. Here goes Nikko for the upshot. It looks real tricky. And he hits a tree.
You know, this upshot here really shows you what the Penn Valley course is all about. Just these low-hanging oaks everywhere.
Shaun long with the touch sidearm, and I think he parks it. Here I am from about 45 feet. We actually do have a Hyzer window. Oh.
That looked good.
I was impressed with myself on that one. I didn't expect to make that. Jere just doesn't quite get enough on his putt, so we'll be settled for a par. See if Mike Jones can get the birdie. Oh, just high again.
Tiny bit too high. And here's Barsby from his own drive.
This is a huge birdie if he can get this. And he does.
Boom.
Great hole, Barsby.
It's the only birdie on that one.
That's a nice birdie. I don't expect to get that one ever. I'm just happy with the par with all those trees there.
And Nikko should have maybe putted that one because it was about 15 feet away, but unsanctioned doubles, they're giving it to him. Chances are he was going to make it anyway.
Chances are he was going to make it. With those spit outs earlier in the round, I was a little surprised by that pickup.
Yeah, so was I.
Off to hole 3, this is a really neat hole. I think all the positions on this hole are pretty cool. This round it's in F, which is 370 feet, and we'll see what everybody does.
It's just right up the path you can see there, and then off to the left once it starts to slope uphill. Very protected by the pin.
Mike Jones gets his shot a little bit too flat and ends up out of bounds surrounding that moat.
And it's hard to see because his body was blocking it, but that went left through the trees on the left of the fairway and made it pretty far before it hit anything, despite how thick those are.
I was very lucky because his partner was out of bounds, so if he did hit an early tree, like Shaun does right here, they would have been in trouble. Let's see if Nikko can get a little further up the fairway to take some pressure off their upshot. Nikko cranks a nice drive out there, but unfortunately gets it a little too flat again and hits that tree.
Just a little too far right, though, you know, just 5 feet to the left. That could have gotten a long ways out there.
Let's see if I can hit this fairway.
Oh, yeah.
Great drive and a good skip to the right, too.
Yes.
Should have a putt from there.
Hopefully Jere can get it a little closer because there's a lot of trees up by that basket. Jere's throwing a nice line. See if we can get a little skip to the left.
And you're like 5 feet apart.
That can be a huge 5 feet depending on what angle we have.
Oh, yeah. It's all about the lie here at Penn Valley.
Shaun long for the upshot. And he laces a nice shot out there. Gets a nice skip and they're
skip.
parked.
Can't even see the basket in there. There's so many trees, but he's right by it. So Nikko might try to skip it in here since Shaun is parked.
Nikko throws a similar line, but unfortunately hits that tree. And they're left with a par.
Here's Mike Jones from Barsby's drive.
Jones trying to hit that tight sidearm line, but unfortunately leaves it a little too far left. Barsby up now. And Barsby throws a beautiful shot that you can see coming right behind the basket.
That kind of touch S-curve flick from a short distance like that is hard to pull off.
Jere with a gorgeous looking Hyzer putt, but it doesn't stay in.
Just kisses the chains on the right side.
I'm trying to follow Jere's line completely. And just off the top.
And drop.
Both of you almost birdied that one.
We were all over that one. That's a nice birdie to get to. And everybody's just going to clean up for their pars now. As you can see, it's pretty casual in this non-sanctioned event, so we're just picking up the rest of the discs.
More pars, and it's still a 3-stroke game.
Going into the tough part of the course now with a lot of tight windows. Hole 4 is 215 feet, That course map doesn't do it justice because
No,
it
there's
is
a lot more
small
trees. There's a lot more trees than that shows.
window. Oh yeah.
There's the fairway. That is a small gap.
Here's Barsby trying to hit the fairway, and unfortunately,
Little
he does
left. Yeah.
not. Mike Jones is up next. Mike Jones gets it mostly up the fairway, and they should be putting. Nikko Locastro.
And that should be about pin high, just 25, 30 feet to the right. Hit the gap.
Shaun Long should be able to hit this gap, and he does so perfectly.
Good shot, Shaun.
That looked great.
That is parked. That gap's a lot easier to hit when you don't have the pressure of your partner hitting the first tree. Hopefully Jere can take a little bit of pressure off for me. And he does.
Hit a tree towards the end, but that's still a putt.
Hopefully I can copy Shaun Long's drive here. But I copy Jere's instead. Get a little bit of a friendlier kick and we'll have a putt. Gregg Barsby from about 70 feet. And just a bit left. See if Mike Jones can make the adjustment. He followed a similar line as Barsby's and they'll have to settle for a par.
Huge putt from Jere. That was beautiful.
That was a huge putt also because Nikko and Shaun are parked. We didn't want them to get another stroke on us. Barsby taps in for his par, and we're off to hole 5.
Hole 5 is in the temporary E placement. This is actually the deep placement for hole 7, normally not used for hole 5.
This is a really tough hole, and it's actually going to give doubles teams trouble. Birdie on this hole is almost impossible, and a par on this hole is pretty good.
That turned it good.
Oh no, that's nice now.
That turned it nicely.
Yeah, that should be good.
That thing was gonna.
Way to play that.
As you can see, there's a lot of trees off to the right, which is where the basket is.
It's some.
And Shaun's going with the flick.
This is a much safer approach.
Oh yeah.
Most fun wins, right?
And he hits one of the first trees.
They're going to be taking Nikko's shot. Let's see what Jere can do.
Penn Valley locals know how to throw those rollers.
Jere lays down a perfect roller,
Beautiful.
That's good.
which takes a lot of pressure off me because I don't have much of a roller game.
Good luck. Oh, yeah, that could work.
That looked pretty good too. It's curling right.
Oh, hits the tree.
Got lucky.
We'll have options though. We got both our shots out there looking for a nice upshot. Gregg Barsby goes for the sidearm route and unfortunately clips a tree on the left. Let's see if Mike Jones can lay down a good roller.
That did not stand up enough. And you can't see it from the camera, but that actually kept going for a long time. And he ended up over on the 7th fairway, very near the tee pad right here.
They're looking at a tough upshot right now. Let's see what they can do. Barsby hits a tree early, and they're not going to like that. Hopefully Jones can find a gap.
He clipped something too. And they're going with Barsby's. Let's see if he can nail this upshot here. That is a lot of trees.
Wow, that was an impressive upshot. He gets it all the way down to the pin. They're looking at a 4 save. Gregg Barsby, the sidearm route.
And he hit something. Good thing Mike made it down there.
That was a tough shot right there. Let's see what Shaun Long has. Oh, Shaun clipped a tree.
Let's see if Nikko can put it close.
Nikko, I think, has a very underrated sidearm. He tries to float around with the lefty a lot, but his sidearm was very impressive, as you can see from that shot right there. And from Jere's drive, we had a nice little window to the basket. He finds a little bit of local love right there through that window and parks it, which leaves me free to run it.
Oh, that was looking good.
It was on a good line. I got a little more aggressive because I knew Jere was right there. So Barsby for the 4 save.
And he gets it. And really there where you and Jere were putting from shows you how tough this position is, because that was a great drive and you were still at least 50 or 60 feet away.
Shaun Long cannot cash it out from 20 feet.
Just looked like he didn't take his time enough on that putt.
Hopefully Nikko cans it, which he does. Par on that hole is not bad. I don't see too many teams birdieing that hole, if any.
I've played hole 7 in that position, and that's hard enough. I can't even imagine trying to get there from hole 5.
Yeah, it was definitely a circus hole for sure. Jere threw a perfect roller, and we still had a 100-footer.
Hole 6 in the famous volcano position, where they usually like to put it.
This hole was actually aced by Ray Johnson with a roller, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Shaun Long going with the sidearm approach.
Right up the gut.
Throws a great looking sidearm, but Hyzer's out early and hits that tree.
You can't really see the basket from here, but it's right up on that mound you can see in the distance to the right. Nikko goes with the roller.
Flip hard. Come on.
Doesn't quite flip it enough, and he is hanging out to the left. They're going to have a tough putt, especially with that mound. Here I go trying to throw that roller out. And unfortunately, I didn't flip it quite enough either, and I'm going to be out there where Nikko is. It's a tough roller because of how touchy it is. You can't go flying behind the mound.
Yeah. There's a lot of holes at Penn like that. They're not very far, but the roller route is still a good choice.
Jere Eshelman with the flippiest rock in the world laces a beautiful shot, rolls up the mound and down the backside.
Right at the base of it.
And we're looking at a 20-footer. Gregg Barsby going with the forehand. Gregg is showing you the perfect forehand line for this hole. He actually skips up and over the mound, you can see it, and rolls down the backside.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be parked, actually, and then he was at the base of the backside.
Mike Jones gunning one right at it, but unfortunately hits one of
Looked
those
like that
trees.
slipped out a little early. He was probably trying to go for the gap on the left.
Yeah.
And Shaun from Nikko's drive, playing smart here. He's just going to lay it up and give Nikko the green light to run it.
Yeah, Nikko's pretty remarkable with his wizards, so we'll see if he can pull out some magic on this hole.
Ooh.
Nikko running right under the pole, and they'll be left with Shaun's easy upshot for par.
Here's Mike from Gregg's drive.
Oh, Mike falls out the backside of the basket.
It looked great. I don't know how that didn't stay in.
Barsby now to save their birdie. Yes, sir. Good putt, Barsby.
Held on. Oh, man.
And here I am cleaning up Jere's beautiful drive. No birdie is easy on this hole, however, because of that mound.
Perfect.
Nikko.
It's good to get a stroke on Nikko and Shaun there. Nikko to save their par. Got it. Nikko's not too happy to lose a stroke on that hole, but a lot of golf left with some tricky holes.
It's nice to see how Nikko takes any putt seriously. Even a 10-15 footer, he's going to take his time on it.
Nikko knows not to take anything for granted.
And this is one of the few holes that was in a short position, probably because hole 5 was in the E position for this hole.
Yes, this is a hole, if you didn't get hole 6, you definitely want to get this one, but it's nice to get both these birdies because they're not very often on this course.
Oh, boom.
Jere
Wow,
laces a beautiful shot out there and puts it 2 feet from the pin.
Parked. So you can go for the ace here. Try
Yeah.
to skip it in, maybe.
Tried to throw it a little bit harder to see if I could get some kind of skip, but I ended up just going deep.
Tried to ace it.
Here goes Mike Jones. Mike unfortunately saws his Hyzer off early and hits that grouping of trees right there. Gregg Barsby up next.
Looked like that was going to get a good skip to the pin, and it just hit the tuft of grass or something and stopped it.
They should be within 20.
Yeah.
Shaun's up next. Shaun throws a lower route, playing the skip shot, and gets a nice skip.
Nice shot, Shaun.
Shaun's got some local knowledge on this course too.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the route. Nikko copying Shaun's line. Flashes the basket, but gets a big skip and
Yeah, that was a huge skip. Didn't look like it was going to get that much of a skip.
Nikko putting from Shaun's drive. Nikko picks up Jere's drive there as he was right under the basket. And now Mike Jones is left with this 20-footer.
He's hit the top of the basket a couple times now.
Yeah, he's giving Barsby some testers to earn their birdies. And Barsby answers. All birdies for the lead card on hole 7. Now we move on to hole 8.
That's the kind of hole everyone really should birdie in doubles. 220-foot Hyzers.
Especially going into hole 8, which is a tough sidearm or roller hole. As you can see, it is an F, 385 feet. It's a bigger dogleg right than shows on the map. And that little creek there is out of bounds, so the green is very well protected.
Seeing you throw a flick, which that's a rare thing.
Doesn't happen very often, and I thought I had a perfect one out there, but I did hit that one tree.
Too.
So hopefully Jere can get us a little bit closer. Jere throwing the one non-orange disc in his bag. And throws a beautiful roller out there, but rolls it right up that tree and is in a similar spot than I am.
Not very good either.
Of course, Barsby's going to go with the flick.
Barsby has a very smooth flick, as you can tell from growing up on a course like this, and he lays a beautiful one out there, but unfortunately hits that one tree.
You know what I've noticed is the Grass Valley players have the flick and the Penn Valley players have the roller.
Penn Valley is one of my favorite courses just because you need every shot. You need the roller, you need the flick, you need the backhand, you need everything.
It's a great course. You need everything, and every hole has so many placements too that every time you play this course it's going to be different.
It is true. Nikko taking the roller option. Cranks a nice roller out there, needs it to flip up. And it hits that tree, sits right there.
Probably a good thing that happened, because it wasn't really curling right yet, and it was going to go deep.
Yeah, they're going to be looking at a 40 to 50 footer now.
Shaun with the flick.
Shaun's flick Hyzer's out a little bit early and hits that one tree, but they'll be looking good from Nikko's drive. Jere down on a knee again. Jere gets it over the OB and is parked.
Skipped it before the OB and over it.
I'm trying a little higher out here to see if I can get one to go in the basket, and I get knocked down by one of the many trees. And
into the OB, so it's a good thing Jere parked it.
yes, I would have gone a little bit more conservative if Jere had been out of bounds.
Yeah.
Mike Jones giving it a run and sits right there, so Barsby is free to run it.
Barsby decides to run it with a flick here.
And run it he does. He goes whizzing by the basket, but that's all right because Mike Jones is sitting right there.
Here's Shaun from Nikko's roller that clipped that tree.
It's up and it's good.
Ooh.
Shaun with a huge putt to get a nice birdie on hole 8.
That made the highlight reel.
And Nikko's right. That did make the highlight reel. We'll see it at the end.
There's me tapping in our par as they pick up a stroke on us to get it back to 3. Barsby from about 25.
Not a problem.
Right over the rim. Barsby's putting well so far. We'll see if we can keep it up.
It's not often you see a player put as much Hyzer on their putt as Barsby does. He's got it dialed.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though. As much Hyzer as he puts on it, the putter seems to go pretty straight still.
And hole 9 in the deep pin. It's not very far, but it's a Sky Annie shot up over some OB right there, as you can see that pond.
It's actually a very fun shot to throw, as you'll see Nikko throw this shot really high and just trust that it's going to fade to the right. Takes a minute to come down, but Nikko swears he saw it come down somewhere by the basket.
Came down right next to it.
Yeah, and it did come down next to it. I think it was just to the right of it, so you couldn't see it from the camera angle I had.
Shaun Long trying this shot with a putter, and unfortunately doesn't quite make it over the top of those trees and falls down short. Let's see if Jere can hit this line. One of his beat up rocks. Jere puts a good line on it, but unfortunately lands in the OB circle.
Turn it more.
So I'm just trying to throw his shot, but a little bit more to the right.
Aces.
Oh, almost went in.
It looked pretty from our angle. Ended up dropping just short of the basket by about 2 feet.
One of these days we'll see an ace on Pure Hyzer Productions.
Gregg Barsby throwing his Comet puts a gorgeous line on it.
Ching.
Flashes right in front of the
Shot,
chains.
Gregg.
2 ace runs in a row.
Mike Jones trying the lower route, but unfortunately takes it a little bit too wide.
Went through that tree anyway, but I think he ended up in the OB.
gotta go tighter.
Yeah, which is all good because Barsby put his right there. We should have some
Some routine birdies
easy
right
birdies. Nikko picking up my drive. And Shaun left with this 20-footer. Shaun makes good. Leaves Mike Jones with this 15-footer. Oh!
here. And that one danced on the edge of the basket a little.
Getting some laughter from Mike over there. And that is a star frame on hole 9 for the lead card. Hole 10 is another birdie hole.
You know, hole 10's probably the easiest hole at Penn. It doesn't even have any really hard positions like a lot of the other holes do. Even the deepest placement is 290, and it's just a pretty straightforward Hyzer shot.
The only tricky thing is getting your shot to Hyzer flip, because it is a Hyzer off the tee pad, but the pin is straight.
Yeah.
Shaun takes a local route here that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, Shaun takes the actual Hyzer route out there, which...
All right.
Riskier route.
It's risky. There's a road out there that's OB. And he said right there that he was doing that on purpose. Parked it.
Nikko taking a unique route too, throws a very understable disc and lets it cut roll right back to the basket. And he put his shot about 3 feet away. Great shot by Nikko. I'm taking the safer line, which is just a Hyzer. Leaves you with about a 30, 35 footer. And hopefully Jere can put it a little closer.
And Jere turned that one over. I was headed towards the OB and it clipped that branch, so you guys are going to go with your drive.
Up next, Gregg Barsby. Throwing his Comet again. Wants it to Hyzer flip to flat, but doesn't quite get the angle on it, and he'll be over where I am. Mike Jones with the KC Pro Rock. Gorgeous line.
Flips it flat, and that is headed right at the basket.
Oh.
Doesn't get much better than that. That was a perfect line by Mike Jones. Jere from 35, no chains needed. Lands it right in the cage.
And he's happy with that result.
There was Nikko's shot right there, which was right under the pin, which leaves Barsby with this 30-footer. Not a problem for Gregg. And we have another star frame. Back-to-back star frames for the lead card. Up next, we got hole 11.
One of the signature holes at Penn, I'd say, especially where it's at now in the C-pin, right behind the OB, and it's elevated.
This is a very tricky shot because if you do go aggressive and go for the basket, it's very likely that you'll end up out of bounds. We'll see what Nikko does here. Nikko throwing those MVP discs he's liking a lot. He puts a good line on it, just ends up a little bit long.
So that's like a 50-footer back towards the OB. Good thing it's doubles.
Scary. Yeah, it's like 60 feet. You can get closer than that.
It's a little bit of a death putt, so he's hoping Shaun can put it closer. Shaun throws a nice shot out there, but as you can see, that is the danger of this hole. He lands right in the middle of the out of bounds, so they'll be taking Nikko's shot. Here we have Jere throwing his 131 Blizzard Wraith. He likes that really light stuff because he can just barely throw it and it goes a long way.
And that had a great line on it till it hit that tree.
It did. It would have been flirting with the OB, but I have a feeling it would have been safe. I'm going a little bit more aggressive on this shot, and I yank it over into the trees. Looks like we'll be taking Jere's.
And yeah, Jere's did look like it kicked into the OB there, but it actually landed just short of the OB, so it is safe.
Up now is Mike Jones. And we're going to pretend like we didn't see that shot. Hopefully Barsby can get it a little bit further up the fairway. Gregg throwing that deity Chimera puts a great line on it and goes flying by the basket just like Nikko's shot did. They'll have a comebacker.
That's the disc you saw in the pro tip at the end of the last PHP video.
Here I am from about 40 and I miss low.
So much for that.
Hopefully Jere can make the adjustment and put it in the chains.
It looks good, but that was low too, I think.
Actually, that was right over the top of the
That
basket.
was over the top, I couldn't even tell.
He over-adjusted. Mike Jones from Barsby's drive gives a little run and slides a little bit deep. They have like a 30-footer from there. I'm not sure Barsby realizes that because he's pretty aggressive on this shot. He goes whizzing by the basket, and they're left with a comebacker for par. Nikko and Shaun will be playing this shot much safer.
Since the OB's right there, Shaun doesn't take any chances, puts it under the basket, gives Nikko the green light to go for the birdie.
Nikko, as we all know, is a fantastic putter. The OB doesn't face him, and he cans it.
Beautiful putt.
Brings it back within 2 of us at this point. I'm just tapping in our par, and we'll see if Mike Jones and Barsby can save theirs.
Just a tiny bit low. It's up to Mike.
Hopefully Mike can find those chains. Just falls out the backside, and they're going to be taking a bogey on this.
I'm surprised that didn't grab and stay in. He hit low, strong side. It was a little to the right, but it looked like it was going to be good.
It was coming in nice and soft, too.
So Nikko and Shaun bring it down to 2 strokes. And Barsby and Jones with the unfortunate bogey on that one. And hole 12 is up next in the deep pin. 275, but in Penn Valley style, very protected.
275 with about 275 trees in the way, so we'll see what these players do. Shaun Long trying to throw a backhand at that gut, and he laces a beautiful shot out there.
Great shot. That'll give him a putt.
That's not an easy window to hit. Let's see if Nikko can get a little bit further and give him a shorter putt. Nikko clips an early tree, and they'll be left taking Shaun's drive.
That was looking good.
I thought I hit that line perfectly, but
6
just too
inches
many
to the
trees up
left.
there.
That would have been there.
Jere going with a local forehand roller route,
No way. That was looking so good.
but it unfortunately rolls up that tree and
His was
stops.
5 inches too much left, and yours was 5 inches too much right.
It is a tough window to hit. Hopefully Barsby can show us how it's done. Barsby with a nice shot out there, but it kicks right, and they'll be left with a 60-footer.
Unless Mike can put it closer. Let go of that one a little early, and they're going to be going with Barsby's.
We have a tough upshot over here. It's just no real look at the basket. We kind of just had to play it for par. Jere trying to get a little bit bigger of a skip on his, see if he can get the chains. But unfortunately, he doesn't get a very good skip. Mike Jones up from about 70 or 80 feet.
Hammer time.
Let's
go.
Mike Jones
That was
is good.
incredible.
Beautiful line.
Missed a couple shorter putts earlier, and then cans the 70-footer.
That is a nice birdie, and Nikko is applauding Mike Jones for that one. Let's see if Shaun Long can find the chains. Oh, just high left. Nikko from about 50 feet. Puts it up and is just high. Nikko not too happy about that one. Tapping in our pars. Barsby and Mike Jones picking up a stroke on the card with that huge putt.
Hole 13 in the deep end, 465 feet. There's pretty much no line past the C-pin. You just got to throw something out there and hope that it gets through the wall of trees. Barsby's going for the roller here.
Barsby with some local course knowledge actually, I guess, knows a line to get to this hole. He lays out a perfect roller. As you can see, it keeps going, turns back at the perfect time, and gets all the way up there.
And that leaves about 15, 20 feet to the pin. That was an incredible shot. Not only are there all the trees there, but there's a little kind of dried creek bed with some rocks and stuff that the roller has to jump over without its path being altered. And he managed to pull it off.
Mike Jones tries the roller as well, but he unfortunately doesn't flip his over, and it ends up left. Nikko throwing his legacy mongoose that he was throwing a lot this weekend. Lays down a nice roller, but his stays to the left as well. We'll see if Shaun can pull something out of the bag. Shaun taking the backhand route, but hits an early tree.
That little tree right there, I've hit that plenty of times.
This window becomes a lot harder to hit when you have to throw it 450 feet down there. Jere throws what we thought was going to be a good roller, but it doesn't land too well and ends up to the left.
It kind of dug a little bit when it landed, which prevents it from standing up.
Here I go trying that roller route as well. Taking a little bit wider of a route, but I hit that middle tree.
It looked good, though.
I know.
We will never know. We're actually left with a really tough upshot here. I'm trying this huge high spike Hyzer route to just get us somewhere around the basket,
If you can take all the trees out of the equation, why not do it?
leaving us with about a 30-footer. But Jere, being from Grass Valley and Penn Valley, has all these crazy shots in his bag. Lays down a short little roller that turns out to be perfect. Fights through one set of trees and gets us in there for a 20-footer.
Jere comes up with the most unique ways to deal with these situations. Shaun throws the touch flick roller there.
What's up?
Gets it in those trees and gives Nikko the green light to try to run it. Nikko giving it a solid effort, but comes up low.
And this is where Barsby's drive ended up, which is Incredible.
Mike Jones being able to make the putt gets them a solid birdie on hole 13. Not too many birdies on this hole.
No.
And Nikko and myself are tapping in our pars now. Shaun was parked, so I'm just picking up Nikko's drive right here. Or Nikko's upshot. After hole 13, we're hanging on to a 2-stroke lead. Here's hole 14 in the F position, 425 feet. This is a tough hole. This is a hole that's very hard to reach. Mike Jones tries the cut roll approach, but doesn't get it to flip up.
You wanted to do it, huh?
And we'll see what Barsby does with this forehand. Barsby throws a dirty forehand shot. Hits the fairway perfectly, just doesn't quite get the height on it. But they'll be looking at an easy par. Shaun Long trying the straight at it route, which is a much tougher line to hit, and he hits a tree and kicks to the left.
Nikko tries the roller. And just cuts left early.
I'm going to try the backhand route to see if we can get us in the fairway so Jere can do something crazy. Just a little bit too high.
That was almost the line.
It was going to flip up nice. It's too bad we didn't get to see it finish.
Oh no!
Jere trying the backhand route as well. And fortunately hits that tree and kicks us right in the middle of the fairway.
Very good down.
We're left with this 200-foot straight-up shot.
Little right, but that's fine.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough for the par. Now we'll see if Jere can give it a run.
Come on.
Better.
Not hard
Closer.
enough.
Warmer.
Shaun's upshot.
Shaun puts it out in the fairway, but I think they'd like to be a little bit closer.
Sounded like he clipped some branches on the way that took a little off of it.
Nikko giving it a run and puts it right there. Here goes Mike Jones. Let's see if he can hit another 80-footer. Doesn't quite get it flat enough and fades out a little left. Gregg Barsby for the birdie attempt on hole 14.
Yeah, puts it under the basket. Mike's rolled off, actually, so it's a good thing Barsby got it close.
And the lead card is all parked on hole 14, so we're just going to pick up all our upshots and move on.
There's a casual unsanctioned doubles tournament for you. No putts.
Still hanging on to that 2-stroke lead after hole 14. Hole 15 is in the D position, 420 feet. And most of the pros are going to take a high hyzer over all the trees. Let's see how those pan out.
Yeah, this is a really interesting pin placement. It's very protected, kind of under an oak tree.
Mike Jones is trying the cut roller shot, but unfortunately, he takes it a little too far right into the bushes, and it doesn't work out.
Barsby's going to try to go over everything here.
Barsby puts a good pump out there, and it looks to be a good line. We'll see where it finishes.
You know, those sky hyzers are pretty hard to catch on camera.
Here's Nikko throwing his cannon. Boom.
That looked like a good line.
Nikko, for as small as he is, can throw far, and he puts a move on that disc.
I think it was good.
He liked it. Shaun Long trying the low hyzer route. but gets it a little bit too flat and hits one of those trees straight off the fairway. Here goes Jere informing me that the shot is actually an overstable disc that he cranks over to get it to cut roll right to the basket. And he put that on a perfect line. Unfortunately, hits one of the last trees right there.
That's what I was saying about Jere and his unique shots. I wouldn't even think to do something like that on this hole.
I'm just going to go with the high Hyzer shot. And I put it on a decent line, so we'll see where it finishes. It's always nice to be able to unload a power shot on a course like this.
Yeah, you don't get to do that on very many holes at Penn.
Here goes Mike Jones from Barsby's Hyzer, and he leaves it just a little bit low. See if Barsby can capitalize. He does not.
A little disappointed with that one.
Here's Jere in the background from my Hyzer shot. Oh,
Tiny bit too high.
keeping me on my toes.
There you go.
Thankfully, I'm able to capitalize.
You get the birdie all by yourself on that one.
I didn't want to let Nikko and Shaun get within one of us. I had to keep that two-stroke lead. As you can see, Nikko's shot right there ended up within 20 of the basket. Shaun should be able to tap this in with no problem, as he does. Couple of birdies for the lead card on that one, as it's a two-team race. Jere and I are hanging on to the two-stroke lead with only a couple holes to go. Nikko and Shaun are making a run.
Hole 16 in the F pin, 515 feet. Here's another one you can unload on.
This is a fun hole. It's a nice straight shot. Can't let it Hyzer out or Hyzer too much. You really got to keep it straight down that fairway. Nikko Hyzer flips his D3 and puts it on a great line. Fortunately, it just has a little bit too much finish on his. Shaun Long gets his shot out there, but not quite far enough. 515 feet down a straight line is a long shot.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how far past it Nikko went.
I'm throwing the D3 just like Nikko, so I try to put it on the same line, just a little bit lower. Hopefully get a little bit slide up there.
And it did. Give yourself maybe a 40-footer or so, 50 maybe.
Let's see what Jere can do on this one. Jere Hyzer flipping his Starlight Wraith. Gets some nice action out there, but I think we'll be taking mine. Mike Jones up next, and he gets a little bit too much turn on his. And that shot actually sticks up in the tree. So hopefully Barsby can put a good shot out there. Barsby throwing his Chimera, gets his shot a little bit too high and clips one of those branches.
A little lower, that could have gotten there. That was looking like it was on a pretty good line.
They're left with about 120 feet, and they're just throwing their putter up shots now. Barsby runs a little bit long on that one. Mike Jones to try and put it a little bit closer, and he goes long as well.
And here's where Nikko ended up. Probably about 50 feet past the basket and left. And Shaun hits chains on the upshot from there.
That was a great run from about 100, 120 feet. Let's see if Nikko can find that basket. And he goes right by the chains, and they're going to have to settle for a par.
And there's your drive. Let's see if Jere can get the birdie from here.
Oh, Jere just doesn't quite get the height on it.
A little low. It's up to you.
From about 40 feet, I get it to drop in time, and we get to pick a stroke up on Nikko and Shaun. Back to a 3-stroke lead with, I think, 3 holes to play at this point, so that was huge. Barsby to save their par, and he Hyzers around the basket. Let's see if Mike can help him out.
Oh, just low off the cage.
Mike not too happy about that one. They're going to have to settle for a 4. Oh, and with the frustration.
That's a good thing it's doubles.
Barsby laughing it off. Taps it in there.
And you got it back to a 3-stroke lead now.
3-stroke lead with 3 to play. Let's see if we can hang on.
Hole 17 in the F position, 415 feet, pretty straight. This is one of the more open holes at Penn. Not that it's that open, but it's more open than most of Penn.
Jere trying to throw a Hyzer flip and doesn't quite get the height on it.
Jeez, Flippy.
And hits a tree, so hopefully I can get us a little bit further up the fairway.
Oh, get lucky.
And that kept going for a while before it hit anything.
Yeah, even though I did hit that tree, we're pretty far up the fairway, so put the pressure on Shaun and Nikko to get the birdie here. Shaun puts a nice rip out there, but unfortunately his doesn't come back, and he hit that tree right there. Nikko's going to try a roller with his D3. Oh, he clips that one tree and takes all the steam off it.
That was looking like it was going to be nice. Just barely clipped that tree.
Yeah, I wish I got to see that shot finish. That was a good line. Mike Jones trying the roller as well. It doesn't quite stand it up enough and ends up being a cut roller.
Gregg's also trying the roller.
Barsby put what he thought was a good angle on it, but it never flips up and just cruises up the hill.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I remember that one. I thought that was going to be great.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the hillside or what, but it didn't quite get the flip on it. Here's Shaun from a knee trying to put it right under the basket, and he does so. Solid upshot. Nikko trying to give this a run, but doesn't quite get the height on it, and they'll have to settle for a par.
Jere from a knee again.
This is from about 100 feet, and he told me he actually took a little bit off on that one. He has amazing distance with that shot.
Wow. Thought you made it.
That was looking good.
We both had a good line, just didn't quite get the distance on it. Here goes Mike Jones. And Mike puts it right there, giving Barsby the green light to run it. Just catches the weak side chains, and they'll have to settle for par as well. Good run, though, Barsby.
Nikko messing with Mike a little bit on the tap in. Nice to see that casual atmosphere. Still a 3-stroke game going into hole 18, which is not the last hole. They still got to play one of the temp holes since they started on B. 18 in the D pin, 312 feet. This is a very unique shot. One of the most unique holes at Penn. One of the most unique holes I've seen anywhere.
312, I think, is a little generous, too. I think this is probably only like a 280-foot shot, maybe. Jere throwing one of his super flippy rocks.
Hit the pole.
That's actually not the basket you see on the left. It's the one on the right, and he will be about 20 feet away. I'm trying to copy his roller line and see if I can put us a little bit closer. But it never flips up.
Yeah, the uphill slows it down and prevents it from flipping as much as a flat roller would.
Here goes Shaun with the forehand approach. Shaun just leaves his a little bit too high and straight and catches that one tree.
Yeah, the forehand approach on this hole is a good one. If you hit that dirt right there, you've got a good skip up to the right. Nikko doing the roller. To the right of that tree.
Rolls just around that tree, and he's going to be parked. That was a great shot by Nikko. He goes Mike Jones trying to sidearm.
Just the same tree Shaun hit.
Had a great line at it, and you can see Barsby shaking his head there, wishing that would have gotten through. However, Barsby laces this drive because he wants it to skip up and in.
And that's the sidearm line.
They will be parked for their 2. Or 20 feet short for their 2. There's Mike Jones. Oh, leaves it just short. Gregg Barsby up now. Try and save their birdie. And he does so. Good putt.
Let's go.
I don't think Barsby had any misses inside the circle this whole round.
I'm tapping in for our 2, and there's Nikko for his 2. So, star frame on hole 18. You can see Barsby laughing at me there because I didn't wait for him to pull the disc out of the basket.
Casual play.
It's nice in doubles when there's no pressure. You got a good partner behind you to clean up any mistakes.
So the last hole that they'll be playing here is the first temp hole, hole A. It's about 380 feet out there.
Everybody's shaking hands and giving each other high fives. It was a fun round, good casual golf on a fun course. Up first is Jere trying the sidearm route, which I thought was kind of interesting, but it's pretty much over for us. We haven't won, so I guess he's just fooling around at this point. And he leaves his shot like 100 feet short.
That's looking good if it doesn't hit any of those. Right over the top of it.
That'll putt.
And in this tournament on a good note. Nice birdie to finish.
And Shaun's up next, but there's some lady walking across the fairway, so he has to wait.
She's making her way over to that stage.
And fade to once it's over, and he's ready to go.
Shaun Long rips his disc over and doesn't quite give it enough time to come back. So they'll be looking at about a 100-footer, unless Nikko can put his closer. Nikko throwing his legacy cannon again. Takes that narrow Hyzer route and rips it.
Hyzer's back nicely, and he's deep.
They'll be looking at about a 30 or 40-foot comeback putt for their birdie. Gregg Barsby going with the Hyzer approach on this shot. And he gets a little bit too much flip, just like Shaun's shot does. Leaves him about an 80-footer. Mike Jones actually slips on this drive and ends up right behind that tree. He was able to laugh it off, and Barsby from about 80, and he doesn't like it. Puts it up there, and it's good from about 100 feet.
That's a great finish for Mike.
That'll put a smile on your face. Great putt, Mike.
Nice hit.
Jere from my drive taps it in. And Shaun and Nikko are left with about a 35, 40-footer.
Shaun left that short.
Yeah, he didn't get a good release on that one.
No.
Hopefully Nikko can find the chains.
Oh, yeah.
Just tie on that. Nico's not happy about missing that.
As it turns out, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, they
ended
had
up
second.
in second place. And there you have it, folks.
So after 2 rounds on a 22-hole course, the final scores are 29 down, 25 down, and 19 down.
Yeah, it was a tough course in that second round, a very tough layout. So even though it was doubles, we were having some trouble out there. As You saw a couple bogeys on the card even.
Well, that was an exciting round. James and Jere started with a 4-stroke lead, and Nikko and Shaun did bring it down to 2, but they ended up winning by 4 in the end after all. And it was a tough layout too.
Yeah, you got to see some good players play some really tough holes on that Penn Valley course. A lot of alternate pins and pins from different holes that we used to just make it really challenging. So, hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was fun, and now we'll take a look at some of the highlights from the round.
So first up on the highlights, we've got Nikko's first drive of the round on hole B.
Nikko took no time to warm up and get loose in this round as he laces a perfect shot out there. Gets a nice skip off of that cement and parks it. Great start to the round for Nikko.
Here's Barsby on hole 2.
As you can see, this shot gets through all the trees until the very end, kicks right towards the basket, where he would later birdie this hole, which is a fantastic birdie.
And Barsby already had the best drive on this hole, but Mike threw a great one too. They had the 2 best drives out of all 6 on this hole, only a few feet apart from each other, I think. Threw the great roller out there, jumps 15 feet in the air through the trees and keeps going a ways before it settles very close to Barsby's.
That's another thing I like about this Penn Valley course is there's more than one way to attack almost every hole.
Oh yeah. Shaun's upshot on hole 3, skips it through all those trees and parks it. It was a tough stance he had too. I thought that was a good up.
That was a huge par save for them. Here's Jere on hole 4 off of my drive from about 60 feet. Sneaks it right in the right side of that basket and gives us our first birdie of the round. Nice putt, Jere.
Jere's drive on hole 6, the volcano hole. Plays a nice roller down there.
Jere is showing you how to throw this shot to perfection. Rolls right up and down the backside of that mound. He's probably done that about 1 million times.
Very next hole, hole 7, Jere's drive again.
Jere was in his comfort zone on this course, showing me the lines and telling me what to do. As he puts it, about 2 feet from the pin.
Shaun putting for birdie on hole 8 from Nikko's drive.
This was a huge birdie. And he gets his putt to stick in there. Great putt, Shaun.
Pretty far away, and those little trees right in his line too, forcing the awkward Hyzer putt around him.
Here I go on hole 9. Throwing a big old giant Hyzer shot with the PA4. And letting it come down to the right. Hitting and falling right in front of the basket.
That would have been cool to get an ace on video.
Both mine and Barsby's shots were right there. Barsby throwing his Comet. Took a little bit of a different line, but ended up with the same result, flashing right in front of the chains.
And here's Mike's little tap-in birdie on 9. Let's watch this in ultra slow-mo.
Whoa.
Just dances on the edge of the basket before toppling in. There was one point where it was at a 45-degree angle, leaning to the outside of the basket, and it somehow still kept twirling and ended up staying in. Shaun's drive on hole 10.
Shaun with the local Hyzer route. A little bit of a risky route, but he shows you how it's done. And he puts it right there.
Mike Jones with his ace run on hole 10.
Mike Jones throwing the KC Pro Rock. Just throws it to perfection as it flips to flat. And Hyzer's out right in front of the chains. We were all wondering how that didn't go in.
Jere's no chains putt on hole 10. Clunk.
Perfect. Just where he wanted it. Here's Barsby throwing his deity Chimera. Gets a little flip on it, and it comes back right behind the basket.
Good run. Put him in an unfortunate spot, but it almost went in there. And Nikko's drive on hole 11.
Nikko with the VMP plastic. Got a lot of great things to say about those discs. Great action on the drive, just a little bit too deep, but fortunately, he was able to make do with the putt. With his partner laid up right in front of the basket, he didn't have to worry about the OB. And makes good from about 50 or 60 feet.
Uphill. That was Nikko's best putt of the round right there. Mike Jones putting on hole 12.
The first of 2 big putts by Mike Jones. Solid putt.
Tell he's excited to make that one.
That'll put
That's
a smile
a
on your
huge
face.
putt. You can see him running to get it here. Sometimes with certain camera angles, it's hard to tell how far something is, but you see how long he has to run for to get that. That really shows you how far it is.
That was at least 80 feet, if not 100. That was a deep putt right there. That's not even putting range for most people. Barsby here on hole 13 with an absolutely ridiculous roller. Everybody else was trying to save par, and he just puts it within 20 feet.
Misses all the trees, jumps over the little dried creek bed right there. Keeps going, curls right at the end.
Amazing shot by Gregg right there.
And Mike's putt, just so you can see where Gregg's drive ended up, really, since you couldn't see the pin.
Solid putt by Mike there to take that birdie on hole 13. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the only birdie of the tournament on that hole.
And your drive on hole 16.
Got that nice flip up with the D3. Probably a little bit of slide, couldn't really see it. And then making the birdie putt. Wasn't sure if it was going to drop in time, but it did. And we were able to take a 3-stroke lead with 3 to play on this hole.
Nikko's drive on 18.
Nikko with a 150 gram F7. Gets that thing to flip over nicely.
Just barely to the right of that first tree, barely to the left of that second tree, and you can't see it, but it curls right and puts him right by the pin for a tap-in birdie. There it is.
Nice shot, Nikko.
And your drive on hole A, the last hole of the tournament. Finishing strong.
Putting some turn on that overstable D1 and trusting it to come back. And it did so beautifully.
Part. And here's Mike Jones with his second huge putt of the day.
Mike Jones finishing the round with an amazing 100-foot putt. Again, just solid as can be. Little fist pump there and smile, head nod to show that he's going home happy.
And that's it for the highlights. Now we'll take a look at the award ceremony.
There was a tie for 5th in the Open between Shoddy and Donnie and Sven and Jacko.
I'll take the money. They don't accept the money. I'll take it. Wilson.
I'm just trying to do the payouts right now.
No, I got a 10 though.
Non-cash or pros go for this? Oh, Hyzer.
Yeah, hold on. 4th place in the Open, we got Chappie and Knox.
It's like five. It's like a
Like a gnarly fairway drive. Third place in the Open, we got Mike Jones and Gregg.
Mike Jones!
When do we?
He's got to go through.
Second place, myself and Nikko. Gregg.
like 17 bucks.
Proctor, James Proctor, and Jere. Sweet
They couldn't miss the hole. So glad you made it.
And then go get a frisbee. You good?
We're out. You're done?
You're picking that. I haven't even gone to get one yet. Wait. You're picking before us.
Yeah, he said to wait on. Hold on. I just wanted to do the payouts and then we'll get back to the disc exchange.
Yeah, we're not picking yet.
This yet.
Yeah, we're not picking yet.